Shields up, Iron Breakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video, and today is finally the day that we're going to be talking about Elden Ring. Yes, indeed. From Software has finally seen fit to bless us with a brand new trailer as well as a release date. For those of you that did not watch the Summer Games Fest, I'm going to be showing you guys the trailer here, and the release date is the 21st of January 2022. But before we start with this video proper, I feel the need to address a couple of people here in the community, people that have been posting comments on some of my videos, people that I've seen post comments on social media, and people that I've seen post comments in some of my streams. People saying things like, Elden Ring is vaporware. Elden Ring does not exist. Elden Ring has been cancelled. Elden Ring is going through development hell. I got so tired of hearing you people over and over and over, feeling the necessity to just rain on everybody's parade. To just constantly just like take a couple of stabs here and there. And there you go. That's what you get. I told you guys from the beginning, I have no doubt that From Software is going to deliver this product. There's not a doubt in my mind. From Software does not play around. Now you people have learned. And now you know. Elden Ring is coming. 21st of January, 2022. And I'm pretty sure that all of you naysayers, all of you doubters are going to be right alongside the rest of us waiting to play the game. But anyways, welcome back into the fold. I'm not going to hold grudges. I just had to get that off my chest because I've been seeing these comments for so long. Anyways, let's get into this. So we're going to be analyzing the trailer. I'm going to be doing my best to analyze every single thing, but before I'm actually going to play the trailer in its fullness for you guys to watch. And before we go through that, I just wanted to point out something interesting here, which is the platforms the game is releasing for is going to be PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One. And then for PC, they didn't put a Steam icon in there, which is... It leaves me with three potential things that could happen. I don't know if this is common because, you know, usually I don't pay that much attention in most trailers to this type of stuff. But in this case, it kind of just like jumped to me and like PC digital download, not a Steam logo. Maybe Bandai Namco is still negotiating to see which platform gets it, which means it could be Epic Games or Steam, or maybe Bandai Namco is planning on doing their own launcher. I don't really care either way, but I know that a lot of people are not going to be happy about that. But either way, it is coming to PC and all the other platforms. And I know that some people are going to be like, oh, I wish it just came to next gen. That's not going to be possible because of the current install base of the previous generation. There's like 70 million PlayStation 4s out there, maybe even more. I haven't really kept up with the numbers. So, you know, most games for the next 2 years are probably still going to be coming to the previous generation of consoles. That's just going to be something that you're going to have to live with. I'm not sure if people expect that otherwise, but yeah, it is what it is. So let's actually play through the trailer, and then we'll go like not really frame by frame, but I will be pausing the trailer at several moments to talk about things that I see on screen. Let's get this party started.
Steen.
The tarnished will soon return, guided by grace once lost. The Golden Order is broken to its core.
Foul tarnished, in search of the Elden Ring, emboldened by the flame of ambition. Someone must extinguish thy flame.
They will fight, and they will die. In an unending curse. be born.
Well, a lowly tarnished, playing as a lord. I command thee now!
Brandish the Elden Ring. For all of us.
Peggy 16.
So who's excited for the upcoming Elden Ring, just with that trailer? By the way, a quick mention about that trailer. You guys might have seen a little bit of like frame lagging and whatnot. That is because I'm watching the trailer in 4K and my computer is over 6 years old. It's like it's dying. It's on its last breath, so it can barely handle like proper 4K video. This is also using a weird codec, the WebM codec that is used in YouTube. So that's why. The actual trailer, if you watch it on YouTube, it's much smoother, but I wanted to have the stuff in 4K to give you guys the best possible image quality so that when we look through these images, we can actually get some interesting information out of them. And a really cool thing about this trailer is that I feel like I've seen it probably 5 or 6 times by now, and every single time that I look at it, I feel like I notice something else, something new. So we start things off here. And you can see that there's a horse. This is for them to kind of like instantly bring to the table, like, look, there's going to be a horse. You're going to be able to ride this horse. You're going to be able to ride it through this open world of ours. Whatever an open world means for Miyazaki, that is something that we will have to see, because I would still expect most things to kind of revolve around, you know, some kind of like a checkpoint system. And once you rest at the checkpoint, monsters are going to respawn and they're still going to be in fixed positions. But I don't know if that is the case or not, because I remember that there were like rumors that monsters would like move across different locations and stuff would change, which, you know, we've also seen things change, like with Bloodborne. Stuff would change depending on the night, on the time of day in that game, which would also alter depending on how many bosses you had killed and stuff like that. So those could be like passage of time things that they could do, or they might actually have dynamic day-night cycle. We shall see. But either way, the horse is smelling our corpse there. We are referred to as Tarnished, and there's a lady riding the horse. This makes me consider that this could potentially be the lady that we will talk to like level up and stuff like that. This is, you know, just taking into consideration the way that things have worked in previous Miyazaki games. This is just pure speculation. I don't have, you know, the only basis that I have is my knowledge of the Souls franchise, right? So she's on the horse and she starts talking about Tarnished right after we get through these titles here. The Taka Miyazaki and George R. Martin. I muted the video so that you guys wouldn't hear whenever I'm like pausing and not pausing. It can get pretty jarring. The Tarnished will soon return. Tarnished almost makes me think instantly of like Hollows. You guys know, I mean, Tarnished, the imperfect, the, you know, the damaged ones will soon return. Now here we see a glorious shot. Like, I really love this shot, and you can already tell that this is significantly different from the stuff that we're kind of used to, because like, just look at the amount of areas that we have to explore here. We see the tree in the middle, which I presume is symbolizing Yggdrasil from Norse mythology. That is at least what I would assume. And like, if you pay close attention to this image, you start seeing like that this is actually areas that you're going to be walking through. Like, you can see that there's a tunnel here, which I'm assuming you'll be able to come down here, enter through this tunnel, and that'll take you through this valley, and that's going to be a level. And then in here you can also see that this is probably like messed up building, some kind of ruins that you'll be able to explore down there. Same thing around here. You see a little house over there in the distance, and it does the usual thing that Souls games tend to do, which is it shows you off in the distance. Obviously, you can see that it's lower resolution and whatnot, so this is something that's way off in the distance, but you will probably be able to come and explore this section and explore this structure here at the end of the map, and you can see this castle here. We actually get a closer glimpse of this castle further into the trailer, which has very interesting architecture as well. But yeah, it's really nice to just see a big, wide open map, and that to know that we're going to be able to just like ride our horse through here and, you know, experience the gameplay in a much more open world than what we are used to with Souls, which is pretty badass. And the tree looks really cool. I actually have this theory that potentially the tree is going to be like in the center of the map, and then all of the other zones that you're going to go around, they're going to be like, you know, adjacent to the tree. So you're going to be going around and you'll always be able to see the tree in the middle. And I kind of suspect that eventually our adventure will take us, you know, to this tree, potentially to ascend the top of the tree or something, and maybe fight a final boss there, or, you know, maybe get some really weird event happen up there. That is something that I suspect could potentially happen with this game. Guided by grace, once lost. So this, I think, has to do with something that they talk about further ahead, which is the Golden Order has lost its whatever. It's actually immediately after this they say it, I think. Right? Actually, not yet. So in here in this other scene, we see this creature, which we have no idea what it is. Could be, might even be a friendly NPC for all we know. We see a lot of water. I don't particularly believe that we're going to be swimming. I don't think that that is a thing. We did swim in Sekiro, so who knows. But I think that this is actually going to be like knee-high water, so you'll be able to just like walk through here or ride through here. It's a nice looking zone though. In here, they're going to be talking about the Golden Order, and you can see that this is probably what I would consider to be their symbol, the banner. The Tree of Yggdrasil is the banner of the Golden Order. You can see that there's a soldier over here, and this could potentially be a volcano of some kind. There's a lot of steam or smoke coming out of it. Then there's this translucent thing here. I wonder if this is maybe a camp that we can conquer or something. I don't know. Maybe some kind of new gameplay mechanic. I definitely hope that there's new gameplay mechanics in here, particularly with them finally trying to tackle like the open world formula. I'm very curious to see what Miyazaki does with that, because I don't think that Elden Ring is going to be like, oh, by the way, climb this tower and now here's all these objectives that you can do. I don't think they're going to Ubisoft this game. Golden Order broken to its core. Now, in this place, I'm not sure what this is supposed to be, but definitely exemplifies broken to its core. It's a busted up building with floating rocks and whatnot, but the pillars are made of what seems to be human bones. These seems to be like, you know, the freaking sternums and whatnot in these pillars. Kind of like creepy in a way. Maybe this is the corruption of the Golden Order. They're just like, oh, let's just sacrifice humans and make buildings out of them. Maybe they extract power out of them or something like that. I don't know. In this scene, you see a bunch of people kind of like petrified. The reason you can tell they're petrified is because the fire is actually animating as opposed to the rest of the people. Not exactly sure what the particular significance of this is, but these types, this almost looks like a funeral pyre in a way, at least from what I've seen in movies and whatnot. That's the source material that I have to go by when it comes to Viking stuff. And here is our protagonist, which, as per usual, the protagonist is going to be able to like swap armor and, you know, use different weapons. We see the protagonist in many different ways throughout this video if you guys pay close attention. But you can clearly see, at least in my opinion, some North influences there with the helmet, with the armor in general. Looks very Norse. You got some furs in this skirt looking thing, and looks friggin' sweet. I like it. And in here is the summoning of the horse. So this tells us that the horse is not going to be with us at all times. So so that they don't have to deal with the fact that there's always a horse on screen. You can basically just summon the horse whenever you need it. At least that is what I would assume. That seems to be the case. And an important detail about your horse, it has horns. And you guys will be like, well, maybe all the horses in this world have horns. They don't, because further ahead we're going to see another horse, and it does not indeed have horns. But it looks like the horse is going to be able to navigate through the map pretty nicely. As you can see, this is just like a bit of random geometry, and those of us who've played Souls games, we know that sometimes these bits of geometry don't necessarily play well with the player character, but looks like you'll be able to just like run around and you should be fine, which is good. Now, in that image that we saw previously before this one, the trailer goes through so fast, you lose so many little details. In this image, we once again see the usual Souls design of like, oh, there's these structures up in the distance, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to be able to visit every single one of them. Further ahead in the trailer, you actually, or maybe a little bit behind, I think it's further ahead, you actually see this trailer, this structure from a different angle, and I think you even get like a close-up of our protagonist getting into that structure. Now, my concern here is this area, like this area chock full of fog. I hope that this is not like that area in Dark Souls 2. Good God, please don't do that foggy area that we had in Dark Souls 2 again. I never want to see that area again, please. Yeah, this area looks really nice. I love just the amount of green that you see in here. I'll be able to just ride through the... Yeah, there we go. The other angle that I was talking about for that building that we saw previously. And again, you can see the consistency of the maps. This is one thing that most Souls games do really well. Dark Souls 2, not amazingly, but most Souls games do really well, which is the consistency of where things are in the map as you are exploring and traversing through the map. You're able to see like landmarks off in the distance, and it's nice to see that they're going to be continuing that. Now here we have this stone giant looking thing, and he has an actual structure on his back. So this is like some kind of a mobile structure that just moves along with this stone giant. The cool thing is that it's got the bell in there. I think that's probably, it's like, hey, you want to come on board? You want to come talk to us? Whatever, ring the bell and we'll stop or something, or maybe drop a letter. Or maybe ring the bell and we'll try to crush you with our stone giant, but that wouldn't really make a lot of sense. So it's interesting that there's this big bell underneath, and again, it seems like it's something for you to like, hey, let me in. I need to go up there and talk to you guys or something like that. It'll be interesting to see what they do with it. And here we see this like kind of artifact being transported by a lot of people, and this is an interesting thing because you see a lot of, a lot in terms of like what you come to expect from Souls games. You see a lot of enemies escorting this thing, so this is potentially something that will be traveling throughout the world, I would imagine, and you'll be able to like attack these and steal them, maybe to gain power, maybe those special artifacts or whatever. And it seems like they're going to have like a whole horde of NPCs, and we actually see our character attack one of these things. Like, you can see it's being pulled by these two giants. These two giants look friggin' horrific. These are obviously undead. They got spikes stuck in them to basically be forced to pull this thing for all eternity. Their hairs remind me of twigs. Not exactly sure what the significance is behind that, if this has some kind of like significance in Norse mythology or something like that, but this is a very interesting thing, particularly because we see our character attack one of these on horseback, which confirms there is some form of horseback combat. We don't know exactly if it's going to be limited or not, but we definitely see our character prepare a blow, and it's pretty badass because he actually like scrapes the sword through the ground and attacks the dude ahead of us. And this is also the scene where you can see that this other horse does not have horns. So there's something special about the horse that we have because he's got horns, and trust me, Miyazaki does not do things by randomness. Okay, it's like if this horse has horns, that is going to have some meaningful significance to why something in game is going to be special about our horse. We can see the blow coming in here. Pretty badass, pretty cool. Now in here, this was a very interesting room because you see this character here in the painting, and he is something that you're going to be seeing further ahead in the trailer. And an interesting thing about this room is that you can see that it's got all of these things hanging off the wall, and these are arms. So the person that is in this painting is a boss that they're going to show in the video, and that boss is apparently trying to graft these arms onto himself so that he has more arms. which I'm not sure if there's probably some kind of like meaning behind it in Norse mythology, or maybe it's just something that, you know, Miyazaki's kind of messed up and he's just like, oh man, let's go put more arms on this guy because it's going to look really creepy. Foul tarnished. And in here you see something that almost looks like a face, which makes me wonder if this is potentially like a boss that you fight or something. You can see some tentacles in here, but yeah, it's kind of weird, but really, really cool design. Just like, oh, there's a big face over there as you're climbing through this ladder. Foul tarnished. Then in here you have what appears, to me at least, appears to be like some form of Roman architecture here with, this character reminds me a little bit of the boss that we're going to be fighting later down the line. And, you know, he also has some kind of like a semblance to Zeus or something like that. So I'm curious as to the connection between the statues, the character we're going to be fighting. And there's this type of like skinny arms is something that Miyazaki really digs using. We got some vases here with arms. This is just like them showing some really quirky enemy that they made. I didn't really find special significance in this part. This image, same thing. You're like in some dungeon going through, doing some dungeon crawling. This is just a undead enemy with a crown. Maybe some form of an old king or something like that. But no, actually more like some kind of like religious figure, probably, through the shape of that crown that he's got in there. Undead as hell, just chock full of limbs and whatever. And it shows us that potentially there, I think we almost see what could be a charged attack. You can see him kind of like charging in, then he blocks with his sword. Looks like there's some kind of like a visceral attack there, a la Bloodborne. Because you can see that there's a really big impact right there. He stabbed it through the mouth. And here is the castle that we actually saw earlier that I told you has some interesting architecture, because you can see some Eastern architecture in the overall formation of the castle itself. But then it's got these accents to me that just say like Asian, Indian type of thing going on there, which makes her a very interesting architecture on here. I'm not sure if you guys recognize this style from anywhere like in real life, but I think it looks really, really unique. Emboldened by the flame of ambition. It's always about the flames. Now in here we have a boss fight, clearly. This boss fight actually looks a little bit weird. Initially, the first time I saw it, I thought that it was headless, but you can actually see a head over here. Like this is his mouth, his nose, this is probably an eye. And then it's got like chock full of horns off to the side. Ugh. I'm really sorry about the frame rate. Like I really need to get a better GPU, but right now it's just like completely insane. And here we definitely see like really good textures on the characters and whatnot, even when they're in motion and just in the ground and all that. But I think that even though it's got pretty good textures, the game itself, the engine that it's running on, you can see through the hair physics and all that, it still feels a little bit dated, which is fine. I don't care. I would play this game at 720p. It doesn't make any difference to me. I'm just saying that some people probably point out, oh, it's not that next gen. It's like, yeah, because it's still going to be running on PS4s and Xbox Ones. I still think the game looks friggin' gorgeous. So this boss also has like some kind of a weird tail thing going on there. And he has a really cool spell that he does right about now. If this thing would stop like spazzing out. That big hammer, like that's a hammer. They just like pulled out of thin air. I'm hoping that there's actually a spell for players to do this. Maybe if you defeat this mob, you get the spell that allows you to summon that big hammer, just like bam. That would be the one thing that would get me to play a caster class properly in a Souls game, because usually I just tend to play melee classes. That little sword attack that he did there, there's a sword attack similar to that. I know that not everyone's played through Dark Souls 2, but in Dark Souls 2 I remember having that sword attack. I don't think it is in 3, but it's been a while since I last played through 3, so there's that. They will die. This image is really cool because you're just coming off of an archway and you see the tree off in the distance. I think it looks friggin' phenomenal. And you can see some enemies here out in the world as you are riding through. I wonder if you'll have like a dismount attack, because there definitely is going to be jumping in this game. And in here, a couple of interesting things. The horns of our horse at this point, and also the horse itself, is different. Because at the start of the video, the horse is white. And in here, we're riding a brown horse. I'm not sure if maybe the horse is customizable, the same way that you customize your character, which would be cool. It still has horns, but these horns are different. See, the horns that we see previously are like bull horns. These are more like goat horns for this horse. And obviously this here is a mechanic that allows your horse to jump great heights and basically just, you know, traverse through the map. But you can see here that these horns on this horse are different. The color is definitely different, because if you go back on the video and you watch the previous horse, it is a white horse. So yes, I do suspect that you will be able to customize your horse alongside your character, which is pretty badass. And in here you have a completely different weapon, and you can also see a leaping attack. You can see that this character basically, actually, he does jump off the horse. I hadn't noticed it previously. This is one of the things, like, you keep watching the trailer, keep noticing new details. So you do have a jumping attack off the horse. As you can see, the horse is currently despawning because you really summon the horse and then apparently you send it off and it goes away. But your character can jump off the horse to perform a leaping attack, but you can also jump off, not just off the horse, but you can also just do a jumping attack, because you see it further ahead into the video. But this is a little bit weird for a Souls game. I mean, look at the amount of enemies in here, but then again, these could just be like shambling enemies, just gonna go in there, slash them all up. I really like this armor though, and even just like the style of the character itself kind of reminds me of Artorias, you know, even though it's probably, you know, there might be something there that Miyazaki's like, oh, this is gonna look a little bit like Artorias, throw people off and whatnot. But yeah, this character armor looks pretty good. Even though I'm not a big fan of the weapon, but it looks like the moveset's going to be interesting. And then in here you see what could potentially be a bonfire, but I'm not... I think this one's a little bit too obvious. I mean, you guys think we're going to get bonfires to rest on? I don't know. It feels a little bit too obvious, but maybe it is. Maybe it's just like, hey, here's some bonfires, and you rest in the bonfires. An important thing is also notice that here it is nighttime, which I'm still curious to find out whether that is going to be a dynamic day-night cycle, or is going to be something that advances as you kill bosses like we saw in Bloodborne. And then in here we have Sif. Yeah, it's Sif. He's wearing Artorias' armor. Now, it's like some kind of like a werewolf type boss, I would imagine. And I think that further ahead we're going to see another one. And I think that the one that we see is different because of the armor coloring, because this armor almost looks silvery, metallic, and the next one that we're going to see in the boss fight is going to have like black and gold trim armor. That item right there is pretty important, which is why I want to go back to it. This right here is going to be the item that is going to allow you to do multiplayer, which, by the way, I've already seen an article which indicates that Elden Ring is going to feature online multiplayer for up to 4 players this time around. I wonder if that includes invading phantoms. I wonder if there will be invading phantoms, because I don't think we see invading phantoms in this trailer. But it's nice to know that we're going to be able to summon people. Looks like there's... I wonder if this structure here is somehow connected to you being able to, you know, maybe some kind of like a checkpoint or something like that. Because notice how both of them just like get summoned looking at that structure. And there's actually a third one over here. Or is that from this guy's helmet? I can't really tell if that's this... Oh no, it was the helmet. Never mind. This is interesting, like the way in which this character is moving. Like, you see how it's got this dagger in the hand, and it seems to have like some kind of unique movement animation. But that's interesting. And you see some bow action there as well. And you see this beefy dragon, which looks like we'll be fighting it on horseback. And here we see a character with a staff. You also see this character further ahead doing the Kamehameha spell. This is pretty badass. The dragon just straight up summoning lightning, and here once again you see the different horse with the different horns, and I think the horse actually does a double jump here. Yeah, like you can see that the horse did some kind of like a double jump there. Look at that. Bounce. So your horse is going to be able to get a double jump. I wonder if that's something that you unlock, or if that is going to be something that is just unlocked from the get-go. I would assume that it's something that you eventually unlock after you defeat a boss or something like that. And here we see the other wolf-type boss that I talked about. And like I said, I feel like this one has different armor. So this might be some type of like clan of werewolf-like creatures. And they all seem to be donning heavy armor. And this one's pretty badass. Look at him just like jumping all over the place. And I just love the detail on that creature. Like, look at him. Look at it right there. You can see the teeth and all that. It's beautifully animated. Love it. And then here we see the Valkyrie. It seems that she's been either burned or some otherwise scarred in the face. We saw this Valkyrie before in the very first trailer that we ever saw for Elden Ring. She's looking pretty interesting here, and the cool thing is that you get to see the animation that she does to the player, which is pretty beast. Poke. Just straight up impales the player with a rapier. Jesus Christ. And interestingly enough, the arm that she's wielding the rapier with is the mechanical arm, because, you know, her left arm is her good arm. And then in here, we have that dude that I told you guys, a lowly tarnished. This is the guy that we had that room previously that had all the arms, and I told you he's like grafting arms onto his back. That's why there's arms hanging off of chains in his dining hall or whatever. It's pretty badass. Look at that. I command thee, kneel! Now, this is... I don't think that this is straight up going to be a boss. I think it's going to be some kind of like corruption. It could be a boss, could not be a boss, could be like a mid-level boss or something like that. It looks like he's suffering from some kind of like blood corruption, and he's able to utilize blood magic. Stabs you, big dragon, flames. The new Smo, the ending of this trailer is like friggin' insane with details. Look at that new Smo, look at that fat boy. Jesus Christ, he's got like this weird looking hammer from Dragon, and he spews fire everywhere. I think this is going to be shaped like a dragon's head or something like that. Just pretty friggin' cool. And look at the design of this armor that dude's got going. I can't wait to jump into this. Then here you almost have like a Shadow of Colossus sized enemy, which is insane. Look at the size of this guy. And then you see the tree still here. Like I said, I think that whenever you are outside, I think you'll be able to see the tree, which again, I believe represents Yggdrasil. And this, I think, is that structure that we see off in the distance, but when you get much, much closer. We saw this previously from a bridge and whatnot. When you get much, much closer, you get all of this detail into the structure, which looks really, really nice. Trying to find, like... This structure reminds me a lot of Anor Londo, like the architecture in here and stuff. It definitely screams. I mean, look, it even has the windows that you had in Anor Londo, the thing that you would go off to the side and whatnot. It's almost like an Anor Londo callback in so many different ways. Let me know if you guys feel that way, or if I'm just projecting, but it's insane. Then here you see him fight these dudes with the weird helmets. Not sure what's up with that. But in here he does a really cool spell. The Kamehameha. A new boss that looks like some kind of like an elk. He's got like shiny branches coming off of his head. And then here we see the Wolverine claws as well. Not sure if you guys caught that when you first see the trailer, because this scene just like plays by and everything draws your attention to the elk. It's easy to miss that this is the player character right here with the Wolverine claws going on. It's pretty cool. Yeah, you see a couple of other deer-like creatures. I wonder if they're all going to be attacking you at the same time as this boss. It's going to be crazy. Now, this I suspect is going to be an NPC either betraying you or doing something weird, because you can see that this, you know, usually our character is represented by the white hair. This definitely seems like the armor that we see the first time that they show the protagonist. And this NPC is just going like, I didn't do it. Oh my, what happened? Not a whole lot to say about this particular section other than pay attention to this dude because he's going to show up later in the video. This is most likely not the same person that is represented in the picture. I'm assuming this is like the maybe not the queen, maybe the daughter, the princess. So either the queen or the princess, and this is just like a big ass bodyguard. And this was probably the king a long, long time ago. This I have no idea. And then an interesting thing here, we see this thing that almost looks like a spider, but it's actually a hand. Like this thing's actually a hand. Look, you got the fingers, you got the nails. Good God, it's gross. It's just like a hand running at you like, it's crazy. And then you have this thing over here, which initially I thought was actually like some kind of like giant head coming at you, but it's actually a machine. Some kind of machine spewing fire, which means that probably someone is behind here operating this machine. A big old eye over there, and then this dude with a beard. Reminds me a little bit of that guy that's hammering the ring in the previous trailer. The hand hugging your hero, a giant hand. And then there's that bodyguard that we talked about previously. He's got wings now, but this is the same character that you see there. You can see from the design of the sword, design of the shield, design of the armor. And then there's big old arms dude. Once again, I'm forced to apologize for my crappy PC. And there, right there, you see that your character jumps to perform a jumping attack, and he jumps quite a bit. Like, look at it. Whee! And that was not a jump off of the horse like we saw previously. That was actually your character jumping. This guy's actually got a lot of stuff going on for him because you can see that he's got all these arms in his back, but on top of it, look at his left arm. His left arm is like a friggin' dragon head or something like that. Friggin' wild. Frickin' wild. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the trailer with as much painstaking detail as I could possibly extract from it in terms of like gameplay mechanics, in terms of little details that I've noticed. Did I miss anything? Let me know in the comment section down below. Super hyped about it. Hopefully you guys are as hyped as I am about Elden Ring. That is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, hit it up with a like. If you did not enjoy it, hit it up with dislike. Feedback is important. See you guys in the next one. Stay strong. Stay safe. Peace out.